the Justice Department, just hours before Hur was expected to be here, did hand over the full transcribed interview of this conversation between Hur and Biden. And in that transcript, the president says, I can't remember, I don't remember, or I don't know, at least 44 times, really setting the groundwork for Hur's analysis that he doesn't have the best memory. Neil?
Amazing. All right, Hillary Vaughn, thank you. Ronald Chapman now with us, federal defense attorney. Ron, what do you think comes of this?
Well, I think that Donald Trump is going to use this all to his advantage for a jury nullification argument, or maybe even a motion for selective prosecution. It's very clear today that we live in two systems, one in which you're a Democrat and you commit an alleged criminal offense under the Espionage Act and you do not get prosecuted because you don't remember, and another system in which Donald Trump is facing prosecution for the exact same thing. This will not sit well with the American public and certainly an American jury sitting down there in Florida.
Some will draw a distinction between the former president and this president, in that Donald Trump had a lot more documents and a lot more shuffling of papers going around there. I don't know what's true, but this notion that there is no comparison, what do you think?
Well, judges tell me all the time that that goes to weight, not admissibility, and I have the same thing to say here. Whether or not somebody was more guilty is really irrelevant when it comes down to determining whether or not they should be prosecuted. I think it was McClintock who said earlier that that is a scary thing we're creating in our system of laws, and that's exactly how the Department of Justice should look at it. A crime is a crime, and whether or not they have the mental capacity is a separate question that should be analyzed separately.
I guess what I'm asking here, Ron, in the case of what Hur is saying, there was prosecutorial, action that could have been taken here. He's not saying that, but he held off because he's a nice old man. I think that was the gist of it, and he's forgetful, and he would, a jury would be sympathetic. Should that enter into a decision whether or not to bring charges against someone?
Well, that can enter into a decision when we have actual proof and evidence that the lack of mental capacity prevents a crime from being able to be proven. And we have specific jury instructions for a situation like that. Somebody can be declared incapacitated, insane, and not have the ability to formulate the intent. That is something that's very specific in our laws and not something that Hur found. And the reason why he didn't find it is because if he did, we would certainly have an argument that Biden could not continue to be president of the United States. Biden, in saying I don't know many times, is avoiding what's called a perjury trap by saying he doesn't recall. For that to be used as a non-prosecution decision is a very strange move in the Department of Justice.
I'm just wondering, if you want to be super cynical about this, maybe the president was feigning this brain lapse or this look like an old man thing, that could be an invaluable defense to say, I'm just a doddering old man, without saying I'm a doddering old man.
Well, that's absolutely right. And that is something that defense attorneys have advised their clients on for years and years and years. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know, when you don't have a specific answer to the question. And I'm sure that that's what happened in this case.
So if he's being, interviewed and Hur is going back and forth with the president over all this time, and the president, I don't know, I don't recall, his mind is wandering. I was reading some of the details here where he's going into stories about when he just started to become a senator, when he got to Washington. And the other guy's listening to all of this. He's saying, boy, this guy is Popeye. He's going all over the map. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's certainly going to create a sympathetic defendant, somebody who just wants to sit there and tell stories, but it doesn't answer the ultimate question, was there mental capacity to commit a crime? And that is something that is more specifically analyzed under the laws that we have available today.
Do you think there was mental capacity to commit a crime from what you've heard and seen?
It appears to me that there was. We had receipt of the boxes. We know that he kept them. We knew that some of that information was shared. We have identical fact patterns to other people who were prosecuted by the Department of Justice, and we certainly have the evidence there. I think that this mental capacity issue is really a convenient way to split down the middle. Culpability, but no charges.
Fascinating. Ron, learn a lot. Ron Chapman is a federal defense attorney. It sounds like a pretty good one.